Hi, I'm Professor Lynn Ritchey, and in this video, we're going to explore some basic concepts from sociolinguistics, specifically our conversational signals, devices, and traits. Sociolinguistics is how we use language in everyday life. How do people vary in how they communicate? Minor differences in our conversational styles can result in major misunderstandings. We tend to use dispositional attributions when we have a misunderstanding based on conversational style. When I was in graduate school, I shared an office with a woman who always was asking me questions. I would politely respond to her questions. However, towards the end of the quarter, I was very busy. She asked me where I was for an event that occurred the previous Friday. I just looked up from what I was doing and I said, "You are one of the nosiest people I have ever met, and it's none of your business." Well, of course, she was just shocked by my response. How we communicate can evoke different emotions. When we have a misunderstanding, we can try to explain our perspective. I was just trying to be polite and concerned. We could alter our style. I could have begun to ask her questions, or we can change the definition of the situation or the frame. When I was a teenager, my mother and I always had some good fights. One day when we were fighting, she said, "I'm not going to argue anymore," and she didn't. It was very frustrating. She changed the definition of the situation. She changed the frame of our conversation. Many of our conversations do not convey important information. Our conversations actually say something about our relationships with others. We can look at two aspects of our conversations. The first aspect is the message. This is information relayed by our words, what we say. The second aspect is the meta message, and this communicates our feelings about the relationship, how we say it. We react emotionally to the meta message. Have you ever heard, "It's not what you said, it was how you said it"? How do we say it? The meta message consists of our voice quality, our tone, intonation, loudness, and rate of speed. It is in the problematic situation that we will pause to consider what we will say and how we will say it. Let's take a look at our conversational signals that we use to regulate our conversations. The first conversational signal is pacing. This is how fast or slow we talk. When people talk slower, we may finish their sentences. When people talk faster, we may think or feel they are uninterested with what we have to say. The second signal is pausing. This is the amount of time we allow the other to respond or take a turn. How comfortable are you with long pauses? People who speak faster tend to have shorter pauses compared to people who speak more slowly. The third conversational signal is loudness or the volume of our voice. Have you ever been asked to use your indoor voice, or are you frequently asked to repeat yourself? The fourth conversational signal is pitch or our voice quality. This includes high and low tones, as well as intonation or the variety of our vocal sounds. People respond to these signals. I had an experience with a magazine salesperson who came to my door. After about 15 minutes of politely telling him no, I decided to change some of my conversational signals. I looked at him and said, "No, thank you." He quickly concluded our business. Small changes in our use of signals can result in major changes in the reactions of others. We can combine these signals into a series of conversational devices. The first device is expressive reaction. People who use this device frequently might be typified as a drama queen. When do you use expressive reaction? I tend to use this device when I'm interacting with young children or in the classroom. The second device is asking questions. How do our signals change if we are asking a challenging question, an informational question, or questions out of concern? We might judge another as being nosy or a busybody if they ask too many questions. When an individual is more introverted, asking questions can be a great device. The third device is complaining. How do our signals change if we are complaining to solve a problem or just merely to vent? When do you use complaining as a conversational device? How does complaining impact our interactions with others? The last device is sharing. This is telling our story with the expectation that the other will also share their story. When and with whom do you share your story? And what information do you share? We can change these signals and devices when our conversations are not going as we intended. We can reframe the definition of the situation. Finally, we can look at conversational traits. These govern the relational aspects of our conversation. The first trait is formality. This is the degree to which we follow rules in our conversations, such as using formal titles. We'd see this more in a business lunch. The second trait is intimacy, and this is the warmth and the willingness to share our personal information with others. We tend to have more intimacy with our friends and family. The third conversational trait is directness. This is the degree to which the message versus the meta message is emphasized. Do you tell it like it is, or do you avoid uncomfortable conversations? The next trait is tolerance for conflict, and this is the acceptance of different views and the degree we defend our views. Do you find yourselves arguing with others frequently? How tolerant are you of conflict in your interactions? To find out, try the tolerance for disagreement scale developed by Teven, Richmond, and McCroskey. The last trait is involvement, and this is the level of our engagement and distraction in a conversation. In a highly involved conversation, we might see overlapping talk and tagging. Our definition of a situation includes conversational expectations. When we are in a problematic situation, we can modify our signals, devices, and traits to have more successful interactions. The next area we're going to explore is nonverbal behavior and nonverbal communication. Okay, I'll see you soon.